Great Grand Rising, everyone. Great Grand Rising. How is everybody doing today? I have not been on live for quite some time because YouTube channel was kind of shut down there for a little while. I did a video before we get into today's subject, but I did a video on the murders over there in Polynesia and Christchurch. And I showed the government as he was, and I didn't even show anybody who was getting gunned down or anything like that, but I showed him shooting the gun like it was in the video game, shooting the gun he was in the video game. And I showed that footage and had some commentary on the back of it. It was only about maybe 2 minutes long. And they pulled the content. And I was shocked that they actually pulled the content, because I did a video, a whole documentary about an hour long about black people getting killed by the cops, actually getting shot down in the streets. That video is still up and still alive, and nothing's really been done with it, but they shut down my content for that. So that was pretty disturbing to know that, worldwide, it is still noted that our value on life, the so-called black value of life, does not equal everyone else around the globe. And that's just what it is. Some people call me a racist for that, but, whatever. But it is what it is. And, a lot of the videos and documentaries and reports that I put out are one that tries to get you to understand what kind of position that we're in, whether you're white or black or anybody we're in. And that's one of the reasons why I talk about the structural abuse system, structural violence system, encapsulated in a supremacy system that this is wreaking havoc to just about everyone on this planet. And, that being said, as I'm reading these reports and meeting with all these ministers, meeting with all these different groups around the country right now, I'm in New York, and meeting with them. And no one tends to care. No one tends to care in terms of redeveloping, restructuring, or anything like that. And, the average black family would need 228 years to rebuild wealth of a white family. 228 years. That's what they would need. It's quite disturbing, really. It's really quite disturbing that it would take the average black family 228 years in order for them to build the wealth of a white family today. 228 years. Now, I'm going to release a video on some of the meetings that I've been having, just so that you can see for yourself what people are how they're actually taking this information, right? I'm going to do another video. I'm sure you heard it by now, but what's going to happen in 30 years for us. But right now, I just want to know that, just as the public policies create racial wealth gap, current policies widen it. And, all of this stuff has been going on long before Trump, long before a lot of stuff, right? Trump got in office. And everybody's so asphyxiated on what's going on with Trump. They just released a report and all that other type stuff. But, this doesn't get any kind of traction whatsoever. This is the reason why I.N.N.A is out there right now building slowly but surely little pockets, community NGOs, in order for us to be able to do what needs to be done to save ourselves. But we're not going to make 228 years. We're just not going to. If current economic trends continue, the average black household would need 228 years to accumulate as much wealth as their white counterparts hold today. For the average family, Latino family, it would take 84 years, right? Heck of a lot more or less than us. Absent significant policies, investors, or seismic change in the American economy, people of color will never close the gap. That's just insane. Those are key findings of a new study of a racial wealth gap released this week by the Institute for Policies Studies, IPS, and the Corporation for Economic Development, um, CFED. Just, I'm just flabbergasted. It's crazy, right? They look at trends in the household wealth from 1993 to 2003, a 30-year period that captured the rise of Reaganomics, expanded international trade, and two major financial crashes fueled by the bubble in each tech sector and housing prices. The authors found that the average wealth of white households increased 84%. 84% during those 3 decades. Three times the gains African Americans um, saw, and 1.2 times the rate for growth for Latino families. I'm mentioning Latino families here as well because there are a lot of quote unquote Latino families that, or Awak Indians, Chirinos, people from Puerto Rico, a lot of people from the Dominican, even Cubans, right? Have a lot of rich, what we now call American blood that is in them, that it's not Africanized, and a part of this whole entire system. So, to put it in perspective, the wealthiest American members of the Forbes 400 list, listen to this, saw their net worth increase by more than 736% during that time period, on average. On average. For those trends persist another 30 years, the average white family's net worth will grow by 18,000 per year, but the black and Hispanic household will only see their growth by $750 or 220 or $2,050 per year, respectively. And when I begin to start telling people about this system, when I'm out there giving my presentations about this system, I'm getting out there telling them that, as long as you're in this system, there's absolutely nothing that you can do. But the churches want you to be in the system. Your politicians want you to be in the system. Your leadership, your community leaderships, they, really want you to be in the system. But the average person doesn't know the other, how can I say, the other alternatives that they have, which we do have a community building system that is in place to make sure that we don't even have to be involved in any of this economic stuff. So when you start talking about 228 years just to get to parity, that means something drastic would have had to happen with the white community in order for them to drop that far, in order for us to be able to catch up. Right? So, economic, the economist Thomas Piketty said that left uninterrupted, we would move towards a autocracy of wealth, says Chuck Collins, one of the study's author. What he did say is that in the United States, that would be almost entirely a white atrocity of wealth, meaning that white people will have nothing, 100%, almost 100% of the wealth, right? And, the Mexicans coming across the border, a lot of the Mexicans coming across the border, whatever, they can put down white. There's a lot of Hispanics that can put down white. So they fall into that. So what we're talking about people who are carbon based, you're talking about people who are selenium based. We're talking about people who have, brown skin, copper colored people of the United States, of the races of the United States, of the Americas, right? So when you're talking about 228 years just to get the parity, you know that will never happen. Not in this system. And this is the reason why I.N.N.A is out there developing the little pockets of NGOs, redeveloping the communities, giving them what they need in order for them to set the stage for the next few years, in order for them to fit into the new paradigm that is coming, or that is already here. It's already here. I want to read you another little thing that I got here. Between 1983 and 2013, the wealth of median Black and Latino households decreased 75%, from $6,800 to $1,700, and 50% from $4,000 to $2,000, respectively, while white median household wealth rose by 14%, from $102,000 to $116,000, really $117,000. If current trends continue, by 2020, what is it now? 2019? By 2020, the median Black and Latino household stands to lose 18 to 12%, respectively, of the wealth they held in 2013, right? In 2013. They didn't hold hardly any wealth in 2013. And they're going to lose from that point another 18 to 12%, right? Median white house wealth would see an increase in 3%. And that's the reason why I said something drastically would have to go wrong in order for the white community to get to, for the Black community, the so-called Black community, to get the parity to the whites. So something drastically would have to go wrong in 228 years, right? In order for us to get to that parity. Put differently, in just under 4 years from now, that was back when this report was written, and I'm going to say just under a year from now, less than a year from now, white households are projected to own 86% and 60 times more wealth than the Black community as a whole. As a whole. And so as I'm meeting with the leadership, I'm meeting with some leadership. And a lot of this is quiet, and I usually don't try to put a lot of this stuff on YouTube, but people need to know what's going on. I'm meeting with the highest of the highs of the ministerial worlds, of the political worlds, right? Of all these different organizations. I'm meeting with the echelons of the top people, and they don't care. They don't care. Their attitude is that they don't care. And even when I tell them that, and I'm going to do another video on this in depth, that in 30 years, 29 years really, the average income, the minimum income for Black people in America is going to be zero. And when I tell them that, you know, the average city, town, county, community has a 25 to 30 year projection on their budget, means that they've already written you off as worthless. They've already written the Black community off as worthless. And so this is why I say, while we have time to invest in us and ourselves and our reestablishing our communities, it's important right now, while we're floating on the cash that we have right now, because right now we're at this point in time, we're worth $1.6 trillion in economic gross income. And when you talk about taxes and everything else like that, I think it comes out to about $1.1 trillion. Right now, that's what we're worth. But even though that's the case, you got to understand that the so-called Black community right now is making a middle-class income, but has as much wealth as a high school dropout, as a white person high school dropout. That means that you really don't have anything. Most people underwater with everything that they're doing. They've already written you off. They're not looking at any of your future family members being a part of the society. They're replacing you with robots. The jobs that you're taking are going to be etched out. They have automated trucks and cars coming in. Cab drivers and stuff like that are going to be out of work, out of business. There will be less and less and less type technical jobs that are going to be going around. And we still, even after 50 years of civil rights, which the civil rights movements I keep on telling everybody is gone, it's dead, it's finished. Black Power movement was a nice idea. The era of decolonization is upon us right now. But after 50 years, we have received and seen virtually no progress. We've gone down, 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 down in everything that we're doing. So I don't care what organization you're with. I don't care if you're an indigenous. I don't care if you're an African American. I don't care if you're an ADOS or DDO, whatever. It doesn't matter. You have been written off completely. And unless a plan comes together that organizes every one of these fractions all around the country as a whole and brings us under one flag, many nations, one flag, none of us will have a leg to stand on. Because every single plan keeps you within this system. Every single one of them keeps you within this system in some way, some fashion, somehow. The plan that I.N.N.A has developed takes you completely out of the system. And with these odds, with these numbers, you're going to have to be completely out of the system in order for it not to be able to bother you. We're going to have to be able to invest in ourselves right now. There's no way that we can even think about reparations. We need to think about organization and bringing together a fishbone network all throughout this country in order for us to be able to have another type of representation so that we can develop a grand council, Congress, and every little area needs to be set up in the same fraction so that way we can begin to start claiming what we need to claim for ourselves. But 228 years, people, for us to even equal what's going on is very, very disturbing. And you should be disturbed. Because if you're an elder person, what's elderly now, 70, 80, 90s? You live to see what's getting ready to happen. And those people who are that age has already been through the civil rights era and they've seen what happened. And it's disturbing. Disturbing. Very disturbing. Thank you, everybody that's here. Thank you, everybody. I do appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Get your friends to hit the subscribe button. So then that way I'm able to do, I'm trying to get up to 1,000 now. I need to jump it up to 1,000. So then that way we can do live on-site videos. So then that way you can see what's happening as I'm meeting with these people. Right? Attitudes and all that other type stuff. This is your leadership. We need to form a new leadership. Einstein said the same thing done over and over and over again. Expecting the same results is insane. That's what you call insane. But wanted to keep this thing under 20 minutes, and we're at that now. And it is just insane. So, the headline here is for you to think about is the average black family would need 228 years to build the wealth of a white family today. And just as public policies created the racial wealth gap, current policies widen it. That means you have no help from your black politicians, quote unquote, black African American politicians. You have no hope of receiving any kind of help, real help from any of your churches or any of your religious institutions, because they're all part of the system and want to be a part of the system until it completely crashes on us. We're in dire straits. This is a new thunder for I.N.N.A. Ronnie McLean for Dark Matter Radio, and I thank you guys for being here today. Talk to you guys soon. Peace, man. Love you guys. 228 years. The next video you'll see from me live will be talking about the 28 years to zero wealth. I shouldn't do that. That's one of those Illuminati signs. How are you? Zero wealth. 0, 0. I'm trying to keep those signs to a minimum. I don't want to be a part of that group, to be honest with you. But zero wealth in 28 years. They have already written you off. I.N.N.A is the way to go. Community building. Reestablish yourselves. Right? Everybody has a right to be independent. Peace, guys. Sorry for so late, but just getting back in from Long Island, meeting with a lot of people. Going to be doing a conference tomorrow at Percy Jackson Youth Center in Hempstead, Long Island. Anybody out in that area, please come. I'm going to be doing an interview with a doctor in the Bronx over the weekend, and then I'll be on my way down to Florida to speak at Tampa University, Black Student Union down there, which is going to be extremely important. So hopefully maybe we can organize all the BSUs all over the country to also participate in this rebuilding effort, because it's going to take every single one of us to do what needs to be done. So you guys be safe out there as we do what we need to do to try to build, right? There's no wrong efforts in anything that anybody's doing. Appreciate you all. Love you all as well. Take care. And may the universe bless you handsomely.